I'd like to call the regularly scheduled village board meeting to order. It's the Tuesday, December 19, 2017. Let the record reflect it's 7:30. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Yonker.
Here.
Trustee Panito.
Here.
Trustee Berg.
Present.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Glotz.
Present.
Trustee Mangan.
Here.
President Vandenberg.
Here. All present and accountable. Thank you. Item number 1. At this time, I'd ask for a motion of approval for the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2, at this time I'd ask for a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the regular village board meeting held on December 5th, 2017. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, at this time I'd ask for a motion to consider approval of the following consent agenda items. Is there...
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Item A, consider resolution 2017-R-057 authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for the purpose of data sharing between the Village of Tinley Park and the Orland Fire Protection District. Item B, consider request from Father C.C. Boyle of the Knights of Columbus Council 4698 to conduct a Tag Day fundraiser for their annual Tootsie Roll Candy Drive on Friday, September 21st, 2018, and Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, at certain intersections in the Village of Tinley Park. Item C, consider request from St. George Catholic School to conduct a raffle from February 1st, 2018 to May 4th, 2018, with the winner to be drawn weekly at the school. Item D, payment of outstanding bills in the amount of $2,055,169.87 as listed on the vendor board approval report dated December 8th and December 15th, 2017.
Thank you. Any members like to remove any of these items? Let the record reflect there is none. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glotz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, we have some special guests in the audience this evening. So at this time, I'd like to do the formal presentation to recognize the Tinley Park Lady Bulldogs Junior Varsity Squad for placing second in the Illinois Recreational Cheer Association's 2017 State Championship. We have some representatives here from the squad. I'm going to call the ones that are present forward, and we'll do a group shot. You can bring the trophy up if you'd like. We have Rachel Olay. I guess or is it Allison? Casey Stewart.
The littlest one trophy. The littlest.
Abby Estes. And last but not least, Brooke Castillo with the trophy. Coach, you want to say anything about your squad? Obviously, there's a much larger squad. I think when they came down with the flu.
Fortunately, yes, they were definitely just proud of our girls. We were a little bit of the underdog all season, and we came through, finished up on Friday with 3rd place, and came back and fought hard and got 2nd place on Sunday. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long season. I'm very proud of the Lady Bulldogs.
We're proud of you. Thank you.
Great job.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you. good. All right, item 5, Clerk Therian.
I'd like to ask the board for a motion to consider the release of minutes from certain executive session meetings.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Seconded by, is it Mr. Pino? Go ahead, Clerk.
We're going to be releasing the following executive session minutes. The August 29th, 2017, and a host of other minutes that were just released. They can be found on the website after tomorrow. These specific ones, the newest ones, are from August 29th, 2017, from the Public Works Committee.
Counselor, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, and then just at the remaining minutes, the need for confidentiality still exists.
Any
Correct.
questions from the board regarding that? Very good. Is this a roll or?
Yeah, take the ball.
Okay, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Yes.
Very good, motion carries. Item 6, Trustee Yonker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for the board to consider rejecting the bid for Post 4 lift station wet well lining.
Is there a second?
Second.
Funds in the amount of $100,000 were included in the current fiscal year sewer rehab and replacement budget for the lining of the wet well at Post 4 sanitary lift station. Bids were received on Wednesday, October 4th, and if the clerk could add those in the record. Staff is recommending that the village reject the bids as it exceeds the village's budgeted amount for this project. Staff will be reviewing the coating option, bypass pumping alternatives, and project scheduling to make this project more economical to perform in the future. This item was discussed December 12th, 2017, Public Works Committee meeting and recommended for approval to reject.
Very good. This is just a voice vote that I assume. Any questions, comments from the board regarding this? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, Trustee Panito.
Consider adopting resolution number 2017-R-54, authorizing the execution of a paratransit agreement between the Village of Tinley Park and PACE through the Dial-A-Ride program for the period of January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
This resolution would authorize the annual agreement with PACE, where they provide approximately 1/3 of the operating costs of the program. The Dial-A-Ride program in the village provides nearly 10,000 rides to its residents annually. The annual cost of the PACE Dial-A-Ride program is approximately $84,000. Each year, PACE subsidizes approximately $29,000 of our program, leaving the village with a net cost of roughly $55,000.
Okay, this is up for adoption this evening. Any comments or questions from the board at all regarding this? Very good. Any comments or questions from the public? Let the record reflect there is none. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
And Trustee Mangan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 8, Trustee Berg.
I'd like to make a motion to consider authorizing the Oak Park Playbook grant programs and concept to be included in the 2019 fiscal year budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This collection of incentive concepts will spur redevelopment along the Oak Park corridor. Incentive details will be recommended for approval at a later date. The recommended overall cap is one site can use up to $70,000 in grants per year. A site is not eligible for grants if they received an incentive over the past 10 years. This collection of incentives has been reviewed at the December 4th Economic Commercial Commission, reviewed at the November 28th Economic Development and Marketing Committee, also reviewed at the November 21st Village Board meeting, recommended for approval at the 24th of October Economic Development and Marketing Committee meeting, was reviewed at the September 21st, 2017 Main Street Commission meeting, and at the September 11th Economic Commercial Commission meeting. A lot
Going on
of
there.
approvals on that one.
This is authorization for this grant program. Any comments or questions from the board? I would just note that I thank you, Cindy, for bringing it to all those committees and commissions. It's been a long work in progress, something that started out of the mayor's office working with staff, and certainly go ahead and getting it down into the nitty-gritty of the commissions and committees. We really appreciate the opportunity to present that stuff to you, and we think that it's going to be an extremely valuable asset for the community as well as all of our small business owners and future entrepreneurs here in Tinley. So thank you for taking on the
Absolutely.
initiative, and we look forward to it. I know that there's a lot of information on it, and we're going to be putting that together in a fairly standard, simplistic way to view it and market it and get it out into the public. So we're going to be working on that as we proceed forward here in the upcoming year. So thank you again. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, the only, one of the questions I had is the terms, where it scales from 100, 50, and 25. I would feel, if we're going to use taxpayer money, that instead of 100, 50, and 25, I think it's too big of a jump. I would prefer doing more like 180, 60 on the back end.
It's my understanding that some of the details are still to be worked out, right? That you're going to make sure it's all fair and all that, and that's still going to come to the board. It's just the authorization of the idea was my
Yeah,
understanding.
and that's what, this is what they're recommending for the terms, is for the 150, 25.
That's correct, and we can change the details as far as the payback goes. If that's what the board would recommend, is that 180 and 60, that can be amended pretty easily.
Yeah.
Was it ever raised as a question or an issue amongst any of the commissions?
I believe that in ECC, some of them are saying that it could be possible to just do 100 across the board, or there's been multiple recommendations. So whatever the average is, or what do you guys recommend, we can do that.
So that's something you guys could work out as you progress forward?
Sure, if everyone's good with the
Yeah.
180, 60, we can definitely make that change. It's really just the payback within the 3 years if they leave. Hopefully, we'll never come to that.
My big concern is the disbursement being fair, but we've talked about that, and that's still going to be worked out.
The other thing, as far as the commission, since now that we are combining the two commissions, the Main Street and the ECC, I think anyone that's on the panel that's deciding where the money goes, I don't think they should have a business on Oak Park Avenue. I'd have no problem with someone, from Harlem or, 171st over by the Grange area, that's fine, but I don't think anyone that's in that particular, trial area should be voting on who's getting the money.
I could be wrong, but that would assume that'd be part of the ethics. They would have to recuse themselves if it had any type of business interest.
Not for
Their
themselves,
own,
I'm saying for
yeah.
another business on
Their
Oak Park
own.
Avenue.
Care to elaborate and why?
The only thing I would say to that, Mike, just from another view on it, is just the fact that they know that area and they know each one of those buildings and what's going on with that. You'd want some input from them. Now, if they themselves was going for the incentive, then I get it.
Yeah.
But from the standpoint of just the knowledge base that they bring to the level of that, I just wouldn't want to see us lose that, considering that a lot of those individual business owners have been down there for a long period of time.
Not only that, Mike, they've gone on to the other committee, the marketing and branding.
I'd be fine with the input, absolutely. But as far as voting on where that money goes, I don't think it should be the businesses that are in that Oak Park Avenue area.
I'd agree to the point that you wouldn't want all of those businesses involved in it, but you probably would want to at least have one person from that area down there that's involved in that piece of it, because I think they're just going to give you some input that people on Harlem might not give you. So
And it-
just, I think, and the details, the key element of it is, these are some of the things that we really do got to iron out from the bigger picture. So I understand where you're coming from there, but I just think those guys down there, the input would be valuable for us.
That's great. I'm all for their input. And, it says, and who's determining the money, that's what I'm recommending to it is, if we want to have one key lead or something, like Fitzgerald or someone, absolutely fine. But not all the businesses that are on these committees, I don't think should be all on there voting on what their neighbors are receiving or not receiving. Because most of the commission is made up of citizens anyway, so that's fine, but there are a couple businesses on there. Yeah, I'd be fine with one of them on there.
I thought that there would be some kind of final approval by the board, too. Is that?
There
not the
is.
case?
They're on the ECC or the Main Street Commission, however we end up merging them, will just be the recommending body. You guys have the final.
They're
vote.
recommending it up to us, and then it's going through finance, and there'll be an arm in finance that will dictate what's coming out of there, too.
Okay.
So I think the key element is what Mike said earlier, is there really does got to be some tweaks to the process that we go through, but I think there's going to be a few eyes looking at this before the money goes out the door. I just think you want it to be where they're not waiting, months upon months for, to go through that process, but we want to make sure it's quick and effective.
Sure.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public?
Yeah, does this include Norm from Cavallini's, since he's like off Oak Park Avenue, or no?
I believe so, yes. It'll take up the entire, it's outlined here, what was known as the Legacy District, so that does include that.
It does include Norm?
It does, yes.
Okay, Mr. Mangan, maybe you can email me or whatever. I believe you guys had discussions recently, and things are moving forward, or with Norm?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is a roll, probably, right? Call the roll. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
And Trustee Mangan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9, Trustee Brady.
I'd like to make a motion to consider adopting ordinance 2017-0076, approving the sale of one fire engine to the Summit Fire Department in the amount of $35,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All right, the Summit Fire Department has learned of the desire to sell engine 46 and is offering $35,000 for the purchase of this apparatus. They have offered a deposit of $5,000 to secure the vehicle and allow both departments to determine timelines for sale and delivery. The proposed price exceeds the amount that the wholesale broker had offered and will also allow us to have a more flexible timeline for transfer of this apparatus and equipment to the Summit Fire Department. This item was discussed at December 12, 2017 Public Safety Committee meeting and was recommended for approval. This ordinance is eligible for adoption.
Very good. Any comments or questions from the board? It's good to see we're going to get more from the vehicle.
Good job, Chief.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Any comments or questions from the public? Let the record reflect there is none. Please call the roll.
Trustee Yonker?
Yay.
Trustee Panito?
Yes.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Glatz?
Yes.
Trustee Mangan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item number 10. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider resolution number 2017-R-056, providing the authorization for landing rights to Santa Claus in the village of Tinley Park.
Second.
This one moved and seconded. All right. You ready for this?
All in favor, aye.
Whereas the United States Federal Aviation Authority, more commonly referred to as the FAA, is responsible for all flights and landing operations in the continental United States, and therefore requires precise coordination for any and all domestic flying. And whereas in the past 61 years, thousands of man-made objects have been thrown into the atmosphere around this planet, thereby further complicating the safe movement of any flying machines and/or sleighs. And whereas the Illinois State Department of Aviation directs that local authorities establish the necessary approval for any flights to land within the state except at registered airports. And whereas the sheriffs of Cook and Will counties further delegate that the authority, when properly approved, to the municipalities of those counties. And whereas any miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer shall designate the first reindeer to respond to a landing signal with his blinking red nose. And whereas said sleigh shall be full of toys and will not exceed the air travel weight load limit. And whereas the driver shall be a jolly old elf of outstanding character and shall have in possession of a good flying record. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Tinley Park, representing the great citizens of the community, provides Santa Claus with all the approvals necessary in whatever order required to land at the homes as often as he deems appropriate on Sunday evening, December 24, 2017, and Monday morning, December 25, 2017. Be it further resolved that the Police Department, the Public Works Department, and all other municipal agencies shall provide speedy and helpful assistance to guarantee that St. Nick's movement throughout the world. This is passed on the 19th day, December 2017, and will be signed by myself, Kristen Theory, and the clerk, and all of our trustees. Does it require, would you like to call a roll?
Certainly. Trustee Yonker.
Yay.
Trustee Panito.
Yes.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
A resounding yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mangan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Land away, Sam. All right, item 11, receive comments from the board and staff. I have a piece of paper here in front that says, join the Tinley Park Fire Department New Year's Blood Drive on Thursday, January 4, 2018. That's going to be held at station number 46 training room, which is at 17355 South 68 Court, and that's in Tinley Park. All participating donors will be entered into a raffle to win a pair of Chicago Blackhawks tickets and will receive an Everyday Hero t-shirt. So I'd encourage you to get out and donate blood. And then on behalf of my family, I'd like to, wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas, a great New Year, and thank you for this past year, and we look forward to the next year ahead of us. So I hope everyone has a great holiday.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment as well.
Mr. Brady?
On the board meeting on 12/12/17, Mr. Paulus questioned what type of security the village will have on information gotten from the LPR license plate reading cameras that have been installed at 183rd and Harlem. The captured data will be kept on a local village server, not the cloud. The data will be kept for 30 days unless there is a law enforcement need to keep the data longer. Only village employees with the appropriate security clearance and leads authorization have the access to this data. Michael was questioning who would be able to access that information. So there's his answer from the police chief.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
I have something. Trustee Glatz and I had the honor of participating last Saturday in the Tinley Wish community event. It was an amazing experience to take part in and see our community come together to help our neighbors. And we'd like to thank the Tinley Park Police Department, the Tinley Park Fire Department, Tinley Park EMS and EMA for the roles they played and the amazing work that they did. And we'd like to encourage all residents who are interested to get involved at tinleywish.org.
Thank you.
I'd also like to echo the mayor's comment, wishing all of our citizens and everybody assembled here today a very Merry Christmas and very Happy New Year, as well as thank all the volunteers for Tinley Wish and the commission volunteers that showed up for the Christmas party the other day. I appreciate all the work and the good neighborliness of our people and how we all pitch in to try to make the best village we can.
I like to sound like a broken record, but like Mike said, thanks to all the commissioners and the staff for the party that they put together on Thursday. That was amazing. The Tinley Wish, which was absolutely incredible. And then on another note, I'd just like to mention this past week we had a full arrest, and I'd like to thank our first responders for a successful save, and would just like to thank them again. And on another note, also like to thank our firefighters. Last weekend in Calumet Park, we sent a ladder truck and an engine for a third alarm fire, apartment fire, and they assisted them for over 2 hours. Job well done. Thank you.
Item 12, receive comments from the public.
On the RFQ issue, well, obviously it's going to go through for the Tinley Park Mental Health Center. Mr. Niemeyer's not here, but previously he said, I think somebody asked something else about an RFQ. Maybe Brad can maybe give me an answer, email me. He said RFQs are very expensive. Do you know what the cost of an RFQ is?
We can get back.
You can certainly get that information
Yeah.
to you.
Okay, thanks. Now, let's just say the state of Illinois holds on to the property for 2 years, which I think they're going to, but I could be wrong. I'm never right, that's obvious. Do we go through another consulting cost and RFQ for that property, or what do we do from there? Email me again, Mayor Vandenberg?
Sure, I'll email you, Mr. Stuckley.
Okay, it's a simple question because you know what? I mean, we all know how the state of Illinois is, and I'm not moving out of Illinois. I like Illinois, but I'm not happy with it. But I mean, we're slow moving. So okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Jake, when you were sworn in, part of your speech, sorry, Mr. Mayor, apologize for that. You encourage residents to stay engaged, join a commission, and continue to ask questions of village government, citing government citizen involvement an unbelievable tool in the advancement of this town. After the meeting 2 weeks ago, as I walked away from the microphone, a couple of folks up front were in wheelchairs, and the podium needed to be moved for them to exit. Before I finished, you stated that you didn't see the purpose of sitting here for 4 minutes talking back and forth about a project that's dead in the water at that point. So your statement when you were sworn in is polar opposite of what you said 2 weeks ago. After I walked away from the microphone at minute 1:14:05, you can be heard saying we're over the 45 minutes. And then you asked if anyone else wanted to speak. A gentleman said yes. And you stated that that would be the last speaker. After that, Trustee Mangan is heard on the microphone stating, I have asked for 5 months. 5 months for that exact reason, to change this. Not going to take this nonsense anymore. We have to make a change to these meetings. It's good to know where you stand, that you feel that residents who come up here to speak is nonsense.
That's not what I said. You
Doesn't
can take
require an answer. It is on tape.
I have the right to say what I have to say. The bottom line
Not during
with
my
it-
4 minutes.
First off, one thing as trustees, we don't need to be disrespected. You
And
come
one
up-
thing
hold-
is
hold on.
residents,
Let me
we don't
expl-
need to be
let me talk.
disrespected
Let me talk,
either.
please.
You're violating all right.
All I'm asking, it's not violating.
Yeah,
You are making a statement, I am giving an answer.
I'm not making a statement. It was a quote.
What I am
It's right
saying.
on the microphone. It's right on the video.
Okay, go ahead.
It's become very apparent that some of you don't like when women speak. It's been very apparent that specific board members are discriminating against women when we speak. With your comments, your disrespect, and your looks at this moment, actually. I would have thought in light of all the sexual harassment discrimination suits and all suits being filed across this country that you would have been a little more aware of what you're doing. Mr. Mayor, I watched for 15 months as you sat on that board as a trustee, and other members were on this board. You never once did I ever remember you hearing any objections to residents asking questions. And in 7 months, that's changed very quickly. In the past, board members, they always at least tried to answer our questions, and it was a lot more contentious than it's been in these past 7 months. For 15 months, it was a battle. It was an actual battle out here. But they answered the questions, and yet some of you refused to. April 2nd, 2019. It's 15 and a half months away. 469 days. We're not going to forget that you're trying to silence us, especially the women of Tinley Park.
care to comment?
I will, if I could, please. First and foremost, I think these meetings are just as important as any meetings we have. As a member of this trustee group for 7 months, my responsibility as being one of the trustees is to do whatever we can to answer as many questions of the village citizens as we can. What I do not want to have happen up here as trustees, and especially employees, is to answer questions that they might be in a position that might be looked at in the wrong way when we can go back the following day or 2 days later and have a very clear discussion what those questions are and give a sound and honest answer. Going to your point that you brought up in your discussion here, my comment to this team over the last 3 or 4 months is to have a procedure that when a question is answered, and anyone up here will tell you that question is given back to that individual citizen within X time frame, and at the following board meeting, we're in a position to be able to answer those questions to the whole public at the following board meeting on those questions. That is a key element. I do not want an employee to answer a question that they're not totally sure on and then be questioned because they didn't give the exact answer. My job as a trustee, as important as it is to the citizens, it's as important for the people that work in the village that the answers they give are the most accurate answers so there is no questions after the fact. Our job, and it's a very tough job, and I can tell you in the 7 months of being here, there's a lot on the table here in the village that we have to uphold to and the things that we have to do as a trustee group. Our job, and I know it more than anyone being the finance chair, our job is going to be big. There's a lot of major decisions that have to be made in this village over the next 6 months. I get the concerns of you as citizens. I don't look at it in any way between male, female, or anything. The key element is the fact that I want to give the right answer. The right answer. And that's the important issue that I want to get on the table tonight.
With all due respect, I think you're wrong.
Mr. Stuckman.
I'm not arguing that, if that's what you feel.
I'd like to point out, i.e., here is a question that was asked of our board 2 weeks ago, and here's the answer, which is what we want.
With all due respect, we were told a couple meetings ago, this is not a question and answer time. It's a comment time. And you stated it directly. We are not allowed to ask questions, and you are not required to give answers.
Did I actually say that? Did I actually say you're not allowed to ask questions?
It is not question and answer time.
Please, if you're going to quote me correctly.
It is not question and answer time. We are not allowed to ask questions. But I'm going to ask one of Mr. Yonker. Who gave you my personal cell phone number from the village? Because the only place that my personal cell phone number is on Code Red. So I'd like to know why you had my number and why you called me on it to discuss business.
I was getting back to you on a question that came from
My home
an
phone
email.
number is listed with the village. Who gave you my personal cell phone number?
I would have to check the email.
Fine. I want to know who did it.
Okay.
And I better not ever receive a phone call on that number again from you.
Just trying to get back to you. Also, the
I
village
have
manager
I
said
have a
he tried
home
to
number.
get back to you too.
I have a home number that is listed with the village, and it's also a published number. Not hard to get. Don't ever call me on my personal cell number again.
Very good.
Final thing, thank you, Trustee Glatz and Clerk Therion, for being the only two people to step up to Tinley Wish.
Anyone else care to comment?
I just want to say that comment that she said was said to me as far as answering what's, as far as it being a comment section and not question answering time. I chose just then to say what I say and answer the questions clearly. Last week when Mr. Paws was here and asked his question to the police chief and Mr. Brady over here, the question was not answered at that time, but the answer came back. So if you can answer, you can essentially ask any question you want, but if they don't answer you, but that does not stop you from having the will to at least ask the question and put the question out there for everyone else to hear.
There's no other questions.
Just one more comment. You might want to check your records. Some of us gave donations to Make-A-Wish. They were not able physically to be there as we have in the past. but gave a donation for it, for the cause.
All right, very good. At this time, item 13, I can ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
And this is for litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to executive session. Merry Christmas.
11.